Years have passed since Alexa Woods barely escaped the frozen nightmare in Antarctica, where an ancient pyramid had been the battleground between the Predators and the Xenomorphs. The Queen was chained and sank to the ocean floor, buried beneath layers of ice, and Alexa hoped to never think about that hellish experience again. But some nightmares never stay buried. Weyland-Yutani, the corporation that inherited the legacy of the late Charles Bishop Weyland, has found her again. Deep-sea scans and satellite data have unearthed disturbing thermal activity beneath the Arctic ice, around the Queen's last known resting place. The corporation believes she may not be dead, as everyone had hoped, rather preserved, cryogenically frozen, and perhaps awakening. The corporation's executives lay out their plan to retrieve the Queen, believing she holds the key to a new era of bioweapons. They need Alexa to lead the mission. Without her, they risk sending others, less experienced, less cautious, and far more reckless. But Alexa knows the stakes. Once the Queen awakens, she'll kill without hesitation. If Weyland-Yutani succeeds in bringing her back, they could trigger an apocalypse. Alexa knows that no amount of advanced tech will prepare them for the horrors lurking down there. The boardroom at Weyland-Yutani headquarters was thick with tension. High-backed chairs were occupied by the corporation's most powerful executives, each one a master of their domain. At the head of the table sat Evelyn Drake, cold and calculating, her eyes fixed on Alexa Woods, who sat across from them, her expression unreadable. Drake leaned forward, her voice low and deliberate, breaking the silence. "You know why we need you, Alexa. You're the only one who survived the last encounter. The data we've gathered shows the Queen isn't dead. She's frozen, waiting." Alexa's gaze was sharp, her face betraying nothing as she responded. "I survived because I didn't stick around to see if she'd wake up. I'm done with this. I've told you that before." Drake remained unfazed, her voice smooth, almost rehearsed as she pressed on. "We understand your reluctance, but this is bigger than your past. This isn't just about the Queen. It's about control, warfare, the future. We're not asking for charity. You'll have financial independence, total freedom from Weyland-Yutani, the kind of life most people can only dream of." She leaned in slightly, her tone becoming more pointed. "And something else, the Arctic is getting warmer. What do you think is going to happen when she is unfrozen?" Alexa's eyes locked onto hers, sharp as a blade. "You're lying." Drake's smile was cold, her composure eerily calm. "That's fine," she said, her voice a low, dangerous whisper. "But when she's unfrozen, when it all goes wrong, it's on you." Alexa's lips twisted into a thin, bitter smile. "It's on me? Financial freedom won't stop her from waking up. And when she does, do you think your toys and your tech will be enough to put her back in her box? This isn't just about one monster, it's everything that comes with her." She paused, her gaze icy. "And don't forget the hunters that started all this. Do you think they won't notice you being there?" The room went quiet. Drake studied Alexa, unflinching, while the others shifted nervously in their seats. The tension crackled in the air like static. Drake finally spoke, her voice calm but with a hint of steel. "We have advanced containment technology, cryogenics, specialists, the best of the best. We're prepared. We've come a long way since the last failure." Alexa's eyes narrowed. "Prepared? You're still missing the point. You've never faced the real problem. No tech is going to hold her once she's awake. And you don't understand what you're dealing with." Drake's gaze didn't waver. There was something almost calculating in her eyes now, as if she were weighing the cost of pushing Alexa further. "If you refuse," Drake said, her voice dropping to a colder tone, "we'll send someone else, someone less capable, someone who won't hesitate, who'll be reckless. The risks will skyrocket. You know this." Alexa's lips twisted into a smirk, her voice low but firm. "So, am I supposed to say, 'All good, I guess I'll do it'? Hello, no. The team you send in won't understand what they're up against. It's suicide, and then it's on you." Drake took a deep breath, trying once more. "Alexa, let me explain something." In 1987, in the central jungles of Guatemala, a hunter, just like the one of the three you encountered, was on a safari, collecting human skulls as trophies. This was part of the rite of passage for warriors from their home planet. A team of 7 was on a rescue mission, but the hunter killed each one by one, until the last man, Major Alan Dutch Schaefer. He was able to defeat the hunter. Drake leaned forward, her eyes locking with Alexa's. Do you really think the team we send in has a chance of winning against the Hunters? You know very well it won't be just one. It could be 3, maybe 4. And they adapt, grow stronger after each defeat. The scar you have is your rite of passage, in a sense. Don't kid yourself, Alexa shot back, her voice dripping with venom. It's not a rite of passage, it's respect, but only for that moment. It's not my American Express card I can just use whenever I want. Alexa gritted her teeth, her voice low, filled with frustration. I know it's against my better judgment, but I believe you want this for something much bigger. You don't know what you're up against. No matter how many you send, they won't come back. It's pure evil. Their only purpose is to kill and multiply. I'll do it, but only on my terms, she added, her eyes flashing with determination. The room shifted. Every eye was now on Alexa. Drake raised an eyebrow, intrigued by the challenge in her voice. And what terms are those? I choose the team, Alexa said, her voice unwavering. Experts, glaciologists, marine biologists, combat specialists. No one who's ever been to Antarctica before. I'll train them myself. Drake didn't flinch. She simply nodded, accepting the demand. Done. Anything else? Full operational control, Alexa continued, her eyes sharp. You don't give me orders once we're on the ice. I decide how this mission goes, not you. There was a slight pause as Drake exchanged a look with the other executives. A brief moment of silent negotiation. Finally, she gave a barely perceptible nod, conceding to Alexa's demand. We can agree to that. Anything else? No double agents, Alexa said, her voice cold and precise. No one on that team is there to bring the Queen back alive. If that's their mission, I'll deal with them myself. Drake's smile faltered for a fraction of a second. She'd pushed this far, but there was no denying Alexa's force of will. With a smooth motion, she leaned back in her chair, masking any sign of weakness. You have our word. This is purely a recovery operation, nothing more. The words echoed in Alexa's mind, but she wasn't convinced. She stood slowly, her chair scraping against the floor. Her gaze locked onto Drake, cold and unwavering, her posture both resolute and dangerous. I'll believe it when I see it. But here's the deal. If she wakes up and anything goes wrong, I'll make sure she never leaves that ice. Even if it means bringing everything down on top of us. Drake and the executives exchanged glances, a silent understanding passing between them. A chill ran through the room. Drake's smile was tight, but there was a flicker of something almost admiring in it now. Understood. Your team and equipment will be ready in 2 weeks. You'll have full control once you're in the field. Alexa gave a curt nod, her voice final. I'll get the Queen, or I'll make sure you never see her again. Either way, this ends in Antarctica. Alexa leads her team aboard the Weyland Avalanche cargo research vessel, a cutting-edge ship with cryogenic containment, ice-breaking capabilities, and top-tier security and defense systems. Weyland learns and adapts after each defeat. As the ship approaches its destination, Alexa stands on the bridge, scanning the horizon. Captain, I believe this is the area where the whaling station on Bouvet Island was located when we arrived in 2004, Alexa says, her voice steady. The captain nods, a sharp edge to his tone. Drop anchor and prepare the underwater drone. We need eyes on the ocean floor for the Queen. Just as the order is about to be carried out, the radar officer speaks up. Captain, we have an image on the radar. It looks like something the size of a whale or something else entirely. It's at 16,093.4 meters. The weather is treacherous, the cold cutting through every layer of clothing, but the eerie quiet makes it worse. Upon arrival, something immediately feels off. The underwater drone is surveying the ocean floor, and the radar operator speaks up. 5 more meters to go, holding steady. During the descent, a bit of small talk ensues between Alexa and the captain. So, Captain, what do you think about our mission? The captain hesitates before replying. Well, off the record, I believe Weyland Corporation is out of their mind. Alexa laughs, a sound that feels out of place in the cold atmosphere. The captain continues, but as an employee of Weyland, it brings value to our mission. They both share a brief smile, acknowledging just how crazy this mission really is. The captain turns to Alexa, his voice steady but curious. In our briefing, they mentioned the 3 hunters from another planet. According to Weyland's Bishop heat bloom detection, a pyramid was located. What's your perspective on that? That's correct. If it hadn't been Weyland, it would have been someone else. These hunters are all about the hunt and trophies. They used xenomorph eggs to contain humans, allowing chestbursters to emerge and grow into xenomorphs. She paused. By the way, what do you think our chances are of coming back alive? My suggestion is to communicate with your loved ones. The captain's curiosity shifted to a somber expression. Suddenly, the radar operator shouted, "Captain, something just passed us by! In the ocean! No! Up in the sky!" The captain frowned. "What the hell?" Alexa says, "The hunters are back!" The ship shudders, a low rumble reverberating through the metal hull as the radar blips flicker and shift erratically. Crew members on the bridge exchange uneasy glances, but Alexa's focus sharpens. She leans forward, eyes scanning the radar display with growing concern. "Captain," the radar operator stammers, his voice trembling, "it's moving fast. Whatever it is, it's not behaving like anything we've encountered before." The captain glances at the screen, then at Alexa, his face pale. "What do you suggest we do?" Alexa hesitates for a fraction of a second, her mind racing through memories of past encounters, each one more nightmarish than the last. Her voice is steady, but there's an edge of urgency. "We need to prepare for the worst. Secure all doors and systems. If they've tracked us here, they'll want to test us, hunt us, and they won't be easy to shake off." The captain nods grimly, barking orders. "Get the ship to full alert. I want security systems up and running. No one goes anywhere without my permission." Outside the ship, the ocean is growing more turbulent, the dark, icy waters frothing as if reacting to some unseen force. The ship nears the remnants of the abandoned whaling station, its skeleton jutting out of the snow and ice like a forgotten monument. Alexa recognizes it immediately, the place where it all began back in 2004, where she first encountered the predators beneath the ice. Now it stands in ruin, a broken reminder of the horrors she barely survived. "Drone's losing signal," the operator reports urgently, his fingers flying over the controls. "We're going blind." The captain slams his fist on the console. "Damn it, get that drone back online now!" His voice is a mix of frustration and fear, but Alexa can see the tension in his eyes. They know they're walking into a trap. Alexa pulls herself up from her seat, her movements deliberate. She turns to the crew, her gaze locking on the radar officer and then the rest of the team. "We need to start thinking tactically. Those predators..." She pauses, her tone steely. "They're going to try to force us into open ground. We can't let that happen. We need to move in and out, fast and silent. The moment they know we're here, they'll be on us." The ship trembles again, more violently this time. Crew members stagger, trying to maintain their footing as the overhead lights flicker. "Captain!" the radar operator shouts, his voice strained. "Something's happening outside. There's a massive heat signature. It's massive, moving directly beneath us." Alexa turns on her heel, her instincts screaming. "Get the underwater drone to the surface now. If we lose that intel, we lose everything." "Understood," the operator responds quickly, though his voice betrays his nerves. As the drone slowly ascends, a piercing sound fills the cabin, something between a roar and a shriek, echoing through the metal walls of the ship. The crew winces, instinctively reaching for their ears. The sound cuts off abruptly, replaced by a hollow silence. "Jesus!" mutters the captain, his face etched with dread. "What the hell was that?" Alexa's mind is already racing ahead, analyzing the situation, weighing their options. "We're dealing with more than one," she says, her voice cold. "There's no way they've come alone!" A distant thud reverberates deep within the bowels of the ship. The lights flicker again, and this time they don't come back on. The emergency lights bathe the room in a dim red glow. The atmosphere becomes suffocating, as if the world is holding its breath. The captain looks at Alexa, his voice quiet but determined. "Whatever happens next, we stick together. No one gets left behind. Understood?" Alexa gives a curt nod. "Understood. And stay alert. These things can come from anywhere. Every shadow, every corner is a potential threat." Suddenly, the deck beneath their feet groans, and something slams into the side of the ship with a deafening crash. The lights flicker violently, the sound of metal tearing against metal filling the air as the ship lurches. The crew stumbles, bracing themselves against the walls. The doors to the hallway burst open, and the radar officer stumbles in, panic clear on his face. "Captain, it's coming through the hull!" Before anyone can react, the entire ship shakes again, this time more violently. The force of the impact sends Alexa flying across the room, slamming into the wall with a grunt of pain. She fights to stay conscious, her mind a blur. The ship is under attack. They're not just here to hunt, they're here to destroy. "Get up!" the captain shouts, pulling Alexa to her feet as alarms blare overhead. But Alexa's focus is elsewhere. She can feel it deep in her gut. "The Predators are close. Too close. We need to fight back," she says, her voice unwavering. "The drone's not going to save us. We're on our own now." A voice crackles over the intercom, distorted by static. "Emergency evacuation procedures initiated. All personnel are to..." But the message cuts off abruptly, replaced by the unmistakable sound of metal scraping against metal, a Predator's weapon sliding across the deck. Then silence. Alexa's eyes narrow as she listens. She knows what's coming. "They've breached the inner sanctum," she says quietly. "Time to hunt!" The ship shudders once again, but this time it feels different. The ground beneath their feet vibrates with an unsettling hum, as if the air around them is charged with a strange energy. Alexa's mind races as she grips the nearest support beam, her instincts telling her something has changed. Something is coming, and she's right. In the distance, beyond the crumbling walls of the whaling station, the massive structure that had once been a tomb begins to stir. Slowly, almost imperceptibly at first, a low rumbling sound emanates from beneath the ice. The faintest crack forms at the center of the ancient pyramid-like structure that had once been hidden from the world's eyes. Deep beneath the ice in the heart of the cavern, the Queen begins to stir. It's an unsettling feeling. Alexa knows this moment, this presence better than most. The Queen, the last of her kind, was never truly gone, only frozen, preserved in a deep slumber. But the hunters with their alien technology have found a way to wake her, and they've done it with precision. The device they've used is unlike anything Alexa has ever seen, an intricate alien mechanism with interwoven circuitry, pulsing with a faint, eerie light. The hunters stand around the device, their faces hidden beneath their helmets, their movements deliberate and calculating as they engage the machine. The moment the device activates, a blinding burst of energy surges through the ice and rock, radiating outward like a pulse of life from an ancient buried heart. The Queen's form begins to shift, her massive frame coming to life as she begins her ascent from the depths. On the ship, Alexa's heart sinks as the ground shakes violently beneath their feet. "What the hell is happening?" the captain yells, his hands flying over the control panel. But Alexa already knows the answer. "It's the Queen," she says, her voice low and filled with dread. "They're waking her up!" The radar officer frantically taps at his console, eyes wide with panic. "Captain, radar's going crazy. There's a massive heat signature coming from the surface and it's moving fast. It's heading toward us." Alexa's pulse quickens, her mind already processing the new threat. The Queen is awake, she thinks, and if she's out there, they're not just here for the hunt anymore. The temperature in the ship plummets as they near the site of the former whaling station. The wind outside howls like a living thing, driving snow and ice against the hull. And then the unmistakable sound of something massive moving beneath the ice, the sharp scrape of claws against frozen ground, reaches their ears. In the ice cavern, the Queen's massive serpentine tail emerges from the depths first, snapping through the thick ice with ease, creating a crack that reverberates through the ship's walls. Her massive form follows, her great clawed feet gripping the floor as she emerges from the depths, her body illuminated by the pulsing light of the hunter's technology. A low, guttural hiss fills the air, and the Queen's reptilian eyes snap open, glowing with a cold, calculating intelligence. She knows what she is, and she knows what the hunters want. She is the apex of her species, the mother, the origin of the Xenomorphs, and she will not be controlled. Her massive jaws snap open, releasing a blood-curdling screech that echoes through the ice, a primal call that reverberates off the mountainside. The ground shakes once more, and the ice around the cavern cracks further as the Queen rises, her body an impossibly large silhouette against the icy blue landscape. On board the ship, Alexa's grip tightens around the railing as the vibrations intensify. "We need to get out of here now!" the captain shouts. "Prepare for a full retreat!" But Alexa shakes her head, her eyes narrowing in focused determination. It's too late for that. They're already here. The hunters, having successfully awoken the Queen, now turn their attention to the ship. Their leader, a towering figure clad in elaborate ceremonial armor, turns toward the ship with a cold, predatory gaze. And then, as the Queen's echoing screech reverberates across the icy plains, Alexa sees the unmistakable shape of another ship emerging from the dark horizon. A new threat, unseen. But it's there,